atmospheric sequence, each piece priming the next, and it does not peak until the southern plains ignites midweek. You need the full chain before Wednesday arrives. This is it. Montana first. Wind gusts above 100 miles per hour were recorded today. No tornado, no named storm, just a pressure gradient so steep the atmosphere falls sideways. And when it falls sideways at 100 miles per hour, semi-trucks don't stay upright, power lines don't stay attached, and whatever is not anchored becomes a projectile. The gradient driving those winds is also functioning as a slingshot, releasing energy eastward across the plains. That energy is the mechanical backbone of everything that follows this week. Now go south, way south. Step outside in Texas today and February does not exist. The air presses down like a physical weight, dense, radiating heat from the pavement before you have taken a full breath, the kind of warmth that belongs in late June and has no business being here now. 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Records from May are gone. Records from June are gone. But the number itself is almost beside the point. What matters is what that heat is doing below the surface of the atmosphere. It is pulling Gulf moisture northward, packing it into the lower levels of the air column, building instability the way you build pressure, quietly, completely, until the container cannot hold it. That energy is sitting over the southern plains right now, waiting for a trigger. The trigger has a name and a timeline. We will get there. Before we do, millions of people in the upper Midwest are dealing with a threat that kills people precisely because it does not look threatening. A narrow snow band is moving through Minnesota and Wisconsin. On radar, it appears thin, almost forgettable, but drive into one of these systems and the experience is immediate. The sky drops without warning. The windshield fills with white before the wipers make a full pass, and the lane markings beneath you are simply gone. 1 to 2 inches per hour, concentrated in a corridor sometimes 30 miles wide, while the road 10 miles north is completely dry. That gap is where accidents happen. The driver coming from clear conditions does not see it until they are inside it. If your route tonight involves I-35 or I-90 anywhere near Minneapolis, drop your speed before you think you need to. These bands do not negotiate. Shift east. Boston and the I-95 corridor are tracking a coastal snow burst this weekend. The models show a manageable event. That projection deserves skepticism. Coastal setups in the Northeast have a documented history of outperforming their forecasts in the final 2 to 3 hours before arrival. A light accumulation on paper can become a sharp, rapid event mid-commute. If your plans involve that corridor Saturday or Sunday, keep them flexible. The window is narrow, but narrow and fast is its own kind of problem. Florida today. Severe cells, damaging wind, dangerous lightning, rotation sufficient for brief tornadoes in several of these systems. Central and northern Florida. If you are outside and reading the sky for permission, the answer is no. Get inside. Now the weekend system, and this is where the stakes change. A significant winter storm is organizing for Sunday into Monday. St. Louis, Louisville, Cincinnati. All 3 cities are in the impact zone. But snow is not what forecasters are most focused on. The freezing rain potential across Kentucky and Tennessee is the scenario that operational meteorologists are watching most closely, and here is why. Monday morning, Louisville, 28 degrees. You wake up. The roads look wet. Normal. Nothing alarming. You back out of the driveway and the tires move sideways before you have gone 3 feet. The surface is not wet pavement. It is a transparent sheet of ice formed overnight when freezing rain landed on a sub-freezing road and bonded to it without leaving a visual trace. Bridges glaze first. Overpasses become frictionless. Within an hour of the commute starting, emergency dispatch is fielding calls faster than crews can respond. That is not catastrophizing. That is what ice storm mornings in the Ohio Valley look like, and the models are currently pointed at exactly that scenario for Monday. Now, here is where this pattern becomes something else entirely. The Northeast gets heavy rain midweek. Flash flood watches likely in urban corridors. That detail is serious on its own. But hold it alongside what is developing in the extended range, because this is the piece most forecasters are not leading with, and it reframes the entire threat timeline. The Gulf of Mexico has been feeding moisture northward for days. standard seasonal behavior at the surface level. Except it is no longer behaving like a seasonal pulse. It is organizing into a corridor, a persistent, concentrated stream of tropical moisture that locks onto the same geographic track and replenishes with each new disturbance. An atmospheric river pattern. And it is aimed at a specific swath of the country for an extended window. March 7th through the 10th. Eastern Kansas, central Illinois, into Ohio. 2 to 5 inches of rainfall in approximately 72 hours. And that is the number on top of whatever the ground has already absorbed from the weekend system and the midweek rain. Saturated ground does not absorb. It redirects. Picture what redirection looks like at ground level. Streets in low-lying neighborhoods start running. Not flooding dramatically, just moving a few inches at first, covering curb cuts and drain covers. Then the storm drains fill and stop accepting water. The intersection 2 blocks down collects 8 inches without warning. A car commits to crossing it and stalls halfway through. An underpass that handles normal rain without issue becomes a trap. Basements take water through floor drains and foundation walls at the same time. Emergency services are not responding to one event. They are triaging across multiple zip codes simultaneously. Water rescues, road closures, stranded vehicles. All in the same 30-minute window. 2 to 5 inches after 2 weeks of layered precipitation is not a rainfall event. It is a system stress test. And several communities in that Kansas to Ohio corridor are not going to pass it cleanly. That is the flood picture. Now the one that could be worse. This is the moment you need to be fully present. Wednesday, Southern Plains, Texas and Oklahoma. The heat loaded into the lower atmosphere all week. The Gulf moisture corridor running at capacity. A mid-level disturbance arriving from the west Wednesday morning. All 3 arriving at the same location at the same time, and what that produces is a severe weather setup with large hail, damaging straight-line wind, and tornadoes. The hail signal is consistent across multiple model runs. Golf ball size is the floor, not the ceiling, in the highest instability zones. The damaging wind potential is straightforward and significant. The tornado risk is real, but it carries a positional variable that cannot be resolved yet. Everything depends on where the surface boundary sits at storm initiation. That boundary, the ground level line where cold air and warm air meet, determines the corridor of maximum tornado potential. Right now it could fall anywhere between North Texas and central Oklahoma. A 50-mile shift in either direction changes who is in the most dangerous zone. That answer does not exist in the data until Tuesday. If you are in Texas or Oklahoma, Tuesday is not optional. Come back. The specific information you need will be here. While all of this develops at the surface, something else is running overhead. A G1 geomagnetic storm is active tonight. Solar energy engaging the upper atmosphere while the lower atmosphere produces tornadoes, records heat, and loads a multi-day flood sequence. Aurora is visible tonight across the northern tier Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, parts of Montana and Idaho. Clear skies, look north after dark. But hear what that combination means. The upper atmosphere and the lower atmosphere are both in elevated, abnormal states simultaneously. That is not a visual footnote. Broadly activated atmospheric columns do not de-escalate cleanly. They generate the next event before the current one has resolved. This pattern has been running that way for days. It is still running that way now. After March 10th, something is visible in the data. The models are not aligned on it, but disagreement between model runs is not the same as absence of signal. The signal is present. What the models are arguing about is scale. And when models disagree about scale rather than existence, that argument tends to resolve toward the larger number. The next model runs come in within hours. What they show changes what needs to be said. Check back. This is not finished.